We will go on still with e-health and biotech on our focus. I'm very happy to welcome again Montse Daban. Montse Daban is a Strategic Foresight and International Relations Director at Biocat, and also if you have been in previous editions of the Tech Spirit Barcelona, you know that she's one of our regulars here at Tech Spirit Barcelona. So please a big and warm welcome for Montse and her speakers.
Good morning. How is the spirit, the Tech Spirit today? Is it okay? Does anybody know what is this about? No, nobody knows. So keep your phones at hand, because I'm going to ask you something. And I'm going to just ask the support from the public. But first, let me introduce the panel. We just decided to be almost standing, because it's going to be very, very dynamic. So we start with Chris Morton. He is the CEO at Elem. But let me tell you something about him. He loves politics. He has to tell us about that a little bit later. But anyway, we go to Esther. Esther, just be ready, because she's the CEO at Oniria, but also she's a fashion designer. So politics, fashion designer, that makes sense. So we have Ana Sánchez. She is innovation manager of translational medicine at EATRIS. And she went to Japan for 3 years and stayed 6. So she has to tell us about that also. But then let me just have Maribel Bergés. She's the CEO at Affirma. And she writes sci-fi novels. So this is the panel we have today. And I'm going to ask you something for the public also. We are going to talk about the challenges in health that can be solved with deep tech.
Oh, you have no.
Let me start. I missed the first one. So that is what we're going to talk about now. And we're going to ask your support, because they don't know what they are going to talk about. They don't know.
Science fiction.
They don't know, because it's up to you. So in the next slide, you will see 10 challenges. Probably we can just,
move to
for the moment, let everybody see the challenges. We will talk today about how deep tech is supporting solutions for aging. You know, aging is a big challenge in Europe and around the world. But aging population, brain health, we need new models to better understand the brain, how it works, and how we can just solve all kind of diseases that are associated. Cancer, new frameworks for therapeutics of cancer, not just curability as it is now with drugs-based, but also pathways to improving this curability. Infectious diseases plus antimicrobial resistance. This is the silent pandemics. So let's look at that also. Health equity, access for everybody to the best treatments possible. Health data spaces, and I say spaces because everybody is building their own. So this is kind of a mess, and we will see about that. Rare diseases, 7,000 rare diseases, 70% of them genetic. So there's a need for that as well. Systems-level vision of diseases, because we have to understand the pathways, the immune processes that we have in the body. Psychiatric diseases, that is also, and mostly from the last years on, a big pandemic as well. And fibrosis-related diseases, because many diseases have fibrosis as a degeneration of the tissue at the basis of the prognosis of these diseases. So now, you will have to choose 5 of those 10. They don't know which ones. So please use this QR code, and let's vote. So you will vote for the challenges that we will have now. So, yeah, the code is here. Yeah, sorry. It could have been better on the top, but I didn't realize that. Is it okay? Everybody voted? Can we just go to the next slide and see the results? Somebody there is going to help us for that. So, what are you going to talk about? Only aging population? Oh, okay. Okay, aging. Who's talking about aging? I'm sorry, Chris, but you're going to start, I think.
Yes.
Health equity. You can only vote 5. So we're going to stop in 3 more seconds, and we will just probably choose aging, health equity, brain health, infectious diseases, cancer, secondary, okay. Stop in 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just let's keep it that way. Aging, health equity, brain health, otherwise they won't have time to talk. Cancer prevention, infectious diseases, and secondary, am I just counting too much? Okay, take a seat. And then we're going to talk about aging. Let me just take a picture of that because if this moves around, then you're going to do things about that. Okay, just, yeah, you can see. So if we talk about, and let me just go to the subjects. So we start by aging. Help us define the challenge, Chris, because I don't know if everybody will agree with you with the definition of this challenge.
Okay, now thank you very much. And by the way, it's lovely to be here and to have this format of panels. First time I do it. We can always count on Montse to do these things. So, thank you so much.
Better.
Right, aging. Aging is the one thing actually we don't want to talk about, do we? I was saying earlier, what we really want to talk about is how do we stay young. So we should change those names. I think we have to have a positive take on things. But so there are loads of issues related to aging. First of all, there's the personal side. When you start to see that you lose faculties, whether it's physical or not, it's not necessarily very pleasant. It's not something that we can manage very, very well. It affects all the people around us. So when you start to see that your parents, your grandparents, start to need special attention, then you have to face the reality of the system. How is the system catering for this? So you have the personal side, you have the family side, you have the health delivery side, and then you have everything related to the economy as well. So it touches, how much we can produce. It touches on the difference between generations. So it's a huge problem.
Thank you. You have to talk about the technology that can support a solution there, but let me just go to Anna, because the second subject was health equity, and you chose that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't know, but it's the second one.
I think when we spoke about health equity is something that nowadays I think is very serious. Like we are developing all these deep tech technologies, but if we are not reaching to anybody, that is a problem. So nowadays with the surge of AI, IoT, and other models like blockchain, for example, I think it's a great opportunity to develop technologies towards the health equity. So one of the main issues is for example, in non-represented minorities or women itself, how many times a woman with a heart attack has been misdiagnosed because the symptoms has been historically based on male. And so I think that is a very important part, and also reaching out to more isolated communities, because whenever the developers are doing a solution, we are doing it thinking about a very urban area, the best hospitals, the best resources, etc. So we need to also reach out to these remote areas. So one of the solutions that we have seen lately is how specialists that they are working in remote areas, they come across and they develop platforms, IoT platforms, to connect with different specialists around the territory, so they can provide collaboration and feedback to each other to treat the same patient with maybe a little bit more of a rare disease or rare conditions that they are used to seeing. So I think these deep tech solutions definitely will help in this area.
Okay, thank you. We will talk about the barriers to that later, but now we have an issue. So the third one was brain health, and nobody chose the subject. So anybody in the room that can talk about that, just define the subject, define the challenge. Does anybody in the room want to define the challenge for brain? Do you want to help us, Carmen, here? Or anybody else that has a... I'm going to do that now, and I'm not qualified.
Neither am I, but what
can I have a mic for Carmen? Or you have to come here with me. Okay, somebody's bringing that to you. Thank you, Carmen.
Neither am I qualified, but for brain,
You can talk about challenge and the solutions that you know of, for example.
solutions that I know of
Challenge and solutions that will be great.
for brain health.
Brain health.
So we live under high levels of stress. This is a room with probably many entrepreneurs or stressed executives like our CEO, Miguel Martí. Our cortisol levels are rocket high all of the time, and that affects our hormones, and that affects also our cognitive capabilities. So what can we do to keep that cortisol in line?
That's a very bad question. Yeah. Loads of people are finding answers that I would not recommend.
That would be... so
attending our event, that is a good way to keep the cortisol level. Attending this event.
Exactly. That would be one solution. Using CBT solutions, we have a local startup that does amazing work in mental health, which is accessible by Carla Zaldúa. They're also members of Tech Barcelona. So that would be my piece on this today. What other solutions do we have that address brain health?
Thank you.
Nutraceuticals, there are many, there's what's going on at the moment. Wired had an article last week about mushrooms. So not only for entertainment purposes, but also to improve our cognitive capacity and microdosing.
Well, we keep
but
that
not
thought.
not for disclosure, not for entertainment purposes.
No, but we keep that thought, and we give an applause to our fifth speaker. So thank you, Carmen, for that. Thank you. So we go to the next one, and according to the picture that I took, and good that I took it, it's cancer prevention. So this is Esther's choice.
Yes, as Montse has said, cancer is the new silent pandemic, and we know that the early detection drastically increases the survival of the patients. For example, we know that in lung cancer, early stage diagnosed patients has a 59% of 5-year survival. And compared to just 6% in the patients that are detected or diagnosed at later stages.
So you put the stress on the diagnosis, but we also have to think on better frameworks for the curability of cancer.
Yes,
because it's not just about developing new drugs, probably, but it's also about all the pathway that is involved, all the inflammatory pathways that are also involved, the fibrosis itself, that it was like expelled of the list, but fibrosis is an indicator of breast cancer, for example. So it's the framework that has to change.
Exactly. For example, we know that there are early diagnosed that works very well, for example, in colorectal cancer. But nowadays, we are focusing the diagnosis in older patients, and we know and we can see that the tendency is that because of the life that we have nowadays, etc., there is a group of population very young that is increasing in this kind of tumors, etc. And we are not focusing. We have the tools, but we have to put them in another place, not only in older patients.
And also put the focus not in the lifestyle that we always are mentioned, but also the environment itself. You can have the better lifestyle, but your environment be really, bad choice for your health. So let me just go to, and that's very good because the fifth one was AMR, so infectious diseases and AMR, and this was the one that Maribel chose, so
yes,
we're fine.
Let me tell you a little bit. Well, we all know that resistances are growing. That's something that most people in the audience already know. But let me just point to two particular challenges in this field. First of all, is this can put in jeopardy all the health system, because it's not only about the spread that can be anywhere. It's about when you go to a simple procedure in a hospital, let's say you have a knee procedure, and then if there's a resistant infection there, you can catch it. So this is going to be a threat on the global health systems, not only because of the questions of potential spread, but because of the question of the danger of the health centers themselves. In here, we need to develop technologies, of course. We need to develop better medicines and with different approaches, but we are already working on that. But the true challenge here is I'm going to put an accent on the business models, because current antibiotics are already generic drugs, very cheap, and very used and currently used. So there's always the question on how are we going to compete with these low prices with new drugs. And the other question is, if we have a really good antibiotic, maybe we should just keep it for the emergency. So the company developing a very good technology is not selling it.
Yeah.
And in here we need new business models based on data, of course, and based on rewarding the research and rewarding the availability of new tools.
In the case of antibiotics, that's interesting because last week in a big event I attended in Brussels, they mentioned that it is not really that profitable because those are drugs that are meant to not be used.
Absolutely.
That is not the best business model.
Everybody's talking about the Netflix business model. They pay for like a flat fee for the healthcare centers and then controlling very well the use. But we need to implement that. This is an organization question. We can do it anytime, but it's really necessary. And the moment we change this business approach, I think it will boost a wave of innovation.
Yeah, that was kind of the solution, having like a flat rate for that. And that there's the need for about 200 new projects on the pipeline to solve that subject, to solve that issue. So just really innovators ramp up for the, for this
but it's
challenge.
very hard. It's very hard, I can tell you, to be an innovator in a place where the business model is not clear.
It's not clear,
Because at the end of the day, we need money to innovate, and of course there are public sources, and there's a lot of public investment, but you need the contribution of the
So when we talk about all the pharma package and all the pharma legislation, there has to be room for that, and we have to lobby a little bit about these issues. So let's go back to Chris, because I know you are suffering, you're not speaking. So
I'm trying to be good here.
I know him a little. So, main hurdles, commercialization, business models, regulatory. In the case of aging, and we have all the population, this is not that the market is small. What are the barriers there for the innovation?
Let me just, actually, I don't want to talk about this.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's not necessary. There is something which is common to all the topics that we've just talked about, and the moment in time we're at. And this is the really what is called the patient-centric healthcare. And when we talk about business models, when we talk about what works for the industry, what works for hospitals and everything, at the end of the day, there's one thing that is changing, and it is a political reason to start with. It's how do we shift the risk from corporations that don't want to take it? How do we shift the risk from hospitals who don't really want to take it? And how do we shift that risk onto patients?
Okay.
And that has two, you can look at it from the dark side and say, oh, everybody's going to say, it's up to you if you get cured, it's up to you if you get old,
But you're going to get there.
all of these things. We're going to get there anyway, all right? But it's how you get there that matters. But then you can look at it from the other side of the coin, which is, apparently, if we do get involved in our own health, it actually improves the chances of better life. And so whether it's for aging, whether it's for protecting yourself against disease, whether it's against health equity, whatever it is, if you really start to look from the patient-centric point of view, and you look at all the data models, business models, predictive models that can be done around patients, and you can derive that into like what we do, virtual human trials. So we have beating hearts, female, male, children, and you can do tests on this. You can start to bridge those gaps. So I think we have to really look at it, as an opportunity. There is one thing which is true. It's like, how do I say, when you have a baby, they don't come with a manual, okay? Startups don't come with manuals either. Business models don't come with manuals. To expect that somebody's going to give it to you is not going to happen. We all know this. You have to find your way. You have to find a path that works. And sometimes there's this one thing that is really important in our space. In health, you can't always afford to try fast, fail fast.
I keep that for Esther. Does this apply to cancer research and cancer development? getting a fast answer to the challenge?
No, there are a lot of rules.
For years at EU level, and we don't have yet the solution?
Yes, there are a lot of rules that you have to follow if you are developing a therapeutic, but no, currently also for early detection, all the IVDRs that, the regulation is more strict, it's stricter recently, and it's related with the cost as well, because investors prefer to invest in therapeutics because the ROI is going to be higher in front of the investment that they have to do, because it's going to be similar in the future, the development of an IVDR and the development of a therapeutics, and the money that you receive, the ROI is not going to be the same. Then that is a challenge, I think, for governmental entities in order to help these kind of projects, because it's very necessary to early detect and also to select very well the patients.
And it was a moonshot, so it's obvious that we have to all together. But Anna, you work at EATRIS. How many nodes are there across Europe? I don't know, 20?
14 nodes.
Okay. So any solution related to health equity that you can know of being developed, or that you want to mention in your environment, that you just want, and where is it at this point? Is it already reaching some point, an interesting point?
I think we are working towards trying to solve problems on the fragmentation across the territories. And one of the things, like for example, that we were talking about health equity, one of the problems always is like data sharing. How do we proceed to that? So now, for example, we are on projects that we are implementing federated learning, and this federated learning can be one of the main responses to this type of issues, that we can tackle. But of course, we need intention, which means like when we are collecting the data, we need to be intentional. We need to be aware of the difference that the ethnicities of our patients are changing, and that we need to include them in our collection of data, and creating these frameworks is something that it's working towards that. So there is right now the projects of Umbrella, for example, for the care of the stroke care, like a pathway from diagnosis, emergency, rehabilitation, and prevention of the relapse. So we are tackling that issue. And there's also the project Preciso that Biocat is also included. They are leading. So we are tackling this fragmentation as well in terms of advanced therapies, and across like more than 25 innovation hubs that we have in the project. Partners, so I think this project is going to be really good, and it's going to establish a framework for how do we establish like the advanced therapies, and how do we collect these data, and being very inclusive and very intentional with it.
Great mention, thank you. And Maribel, just because we have like a couple of minutes, and then we will open the floor for just one question or two. So we talked about commercialization or business models probably. We talked about the need for more funding. But other than that, and I remember hearing that the big problem about AMR is not the human health, but the animal health. So it has to be addressed from the perspective of One Health. Do you agree there?
Yes, absolutely. But of course, it's not always easy to do that, because receptors, and particular receptors in bodies and diseases, are not really always the same. But yes, absolutely, this is very important, because there are a lot of zoonotic infections that will keep coming. But now I'm going to do a Chris one, and I am going to talk about another.
That's what I asked you to do, so go ahead.
So, going back to aging populations, I think one of the risks is that with age we become more risk averse, and we may not want to do new things in resistances, in cancer, or in installations. And I think it's very important for our European society to be aware that we need to plant the trees whose shadow we will not see. We need to be working for the future generations, not only for our own safety.
I agree.
You're a writer.
I agree.
I am.
Thank you for that. Is there any question, burning question in the audience? Someone that wants to add, to comment, to change the approach of the challenges here? Yeah, over there. Can we have the mic?
Hi, thanks for sharing all the knowledge. Quick question before I ask. Thank you. Starting something today as a startup is cutting edge, right? You guys are riding the bleeding edge. So thank you so much for sharing all the insights and congratulations on your success. My question is, probably a lot of people in the audience thinking about starting something today with the latest advancements on AI and a lot of other things. What would be some advice that you could use yourselves, like, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years before, considering your experience today, to share with the audience?
Okay.
They're starting something today.
20 seconds each.
Be very patient. Be very patient. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. So don't expect to succeed very fast, and just keep going very patiently.
Come to EATRIS.
That was a pitch.
We will help you collaborate, and we will help you find your resources and partners that you need.
It's a marathon. It's very hard, and you need a very good team to do together the trip. And then you need to select very well the people that go with you.
Don't listen to what people say.
Totally.
Okay, just we have like 5 seconds. Please raise your hand, those that would have been voted the same if I was asking now. The same. Just 2 people would have voted, okay. Yeah, the same. Good, okay. So we kind of changed your mind. That's what panels are for. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much, the panelists.